What's up, everybody? My name is Juju.
And I'm Easy. And this is Real Talk with the Jeffersons on Jeazie TV.
This is a space where grown people meet to have a freedom of speech, even if no one else agrees. And today we are going to be talking about co-parenting. And we have two guests here that's going to join us, and you don't want to miss that. So stay tuned. Real Talk with the Jeffersons. Real Talk with the Jeffersons. Gotta keep it real with you and Easy. Got a topic, let's discuss it on Jeazie TV. Real Talk with the Jeffersons. Real Talk with the Jeffersons. Alright, welcome back to Real Talk with the Jeffersons, everyone. As you can see, we have two guests here with us now. Would you like to introduce yourselves?
My name is Sherise and I'm the sister.
I'm Ernest Brown, and I'm the brother.
Alright, so as I said, today we will be talking about co-parenting, but before we do that, we will get into something that we like to call What's the Scenario?
All right, get right to it. Okay, so your ex is now dating someone new and they're making your child or children call them mom or dad. What would you do?
Interesting. I don't believe that the father would ever do that, but if he did that, I would just tell my kids not to do it, and if he gets mad, come to me. So that's probably what I would do. I would go through the kids and say, no, don't do that. You know who your mom is. So.
What you think, Ernie?
Oh, man.
You're going through that right now, right?
Yeah,
Oh.
basically I go through that with a situation, and they have a stepfather. And so, I know of, they call him dad. So, yeah, it's a tough little situation to kind of deal with. But, I figured, as long as you there and you're helping and you're supporting the kids, as long as you ain't beating my kids, there is a situation, I guess there's a thin line in there where it can be cool.
What you think?
I think it'd be a tough pill to swallow. I know when my son Pierre came back, he was calling me by my first name. He wasn't calling me dad, so I can't necessarily say no if he was calling somebody else dad, but that's how I felt. So yeah, it doesn't feel right at all. I wouldn't know how to deal with that one. So yeah, it'd be a hard pill to swallow.
Yeah.
So would you do anything? Wasn't that the question?
Yeah, you do anything about it? You say anything?
I'll say something, but what much can you do when the parent is in their ear? With the parent, 75% of the time or whatever.
Correct.
So it's kind of gonna be hard to do something because they already did instill in the kid's head that this is their dad or their mom, or call them dad or mom. So now the kid messed up. So I would try to do something, but like I said, what much can you do?
Yeah, that happened with us. Eric's son that came and he was calling me mom, and his mom was not having it. Was like, we didn't tell him to do that. I guess he just heard Jada, calling me mom, and he was just like, mom.
He probably just felt secure though, because he was old enough to know.
Yeah,
not to call you mom. So it ain't like we forced.
And like you say, sometimes I guess some of the kids, they do it on their own.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Because they feel,
Yeah.
if they have other children there and they hear it, they're like, oh, so this is kind of like, unless they feel that way, like, oh, it's mom.
Mm-hmm.
And then some situations, maybe it's forced upon, which I don't think is right.
Yeah.
Let them feel that that's what they want to do.
Right.
And feel that way. So then that way in themselves that they feel comfortable saying it and not like, oh, I just have to.
I like that better, because I was about to say, because a lot of people have stepmoms and dads, and they might call their stepmom or dad or mom. So I guess, that is pretty normal. I just think that, I guess with my situation, my kids are with me 90% of the time. So I have the most influence. So if he told them to call somebody mom, I think they probably would feel awkward anyway. But if I told them, no, don't call her mom, because I'm your mom, then I don't think that they would.
Yeah. Well, I think that brings us into our topic for today, which is co-parenting.
Yes.
All right, so we know both of you guys co-parent.
Yes.
When did you guys split from the other parent? Like, how old was the children?
2 months in 1 year.
Like, basically, I'm just wanting to know, like, were they younger or older when you guys?
Well, see, in my situation, I got
1 month. Sorry.
3 different situations. So, my first situation, it's been a long time. Wow, I can't even really say. We had 2 children together, and we weren't together when we had another kid. So my girls were younger. And then my sons, that was, let's say, maybe, what do you think, like 2 years ago or so?
You asked me?
I mean, I'm trying to think. I don't know. It's
Because I'm about to say you had 2 close together. And
Well,
then
yeah. I mean, yeah, it's true. I don't never hide it. I mean, I'm honest about it. And it was about give or take. I mean, my youngest son, he was older, so I mean, he was potty trained at least, I know. So that he was, so he was a little while. And then my third situation, we were actually never technically together.
Yeah.
So that was never an actual relationship itself.
Well, with my first son, we didn't last too long at all because we was young. It was like 18, you know. Knew it wasn't really gonna last like that. We wasn't financially stable, and you know, at 18 you want to live. You know what I'm saying? You got the kid and all that, so it just wasn't working out. So yeah, we split pretty young, and then on my second kid, we was together for a couple years, but I left. Well, we broke up when he was young too, though. I think he was like 1, because she moved out of town. So. Yeah, but I mean, it was already bad from then and there. It was just like a toxic relationship. It wasn't gonna work, so I decided to just call it quits on that one. So yeah, both of my kids was young when I left. So.
Yeah, we were. My kid, she was young too. Like, yeah, she wasn't even 1. I'm basically asking that to ask, do you guys think that it affected your children or not? They didn't really know.
I mean, being that young, I don't think they knew. I mean, they can feel the presence though.
But maybe now it affects. Now that.
I think maybe that you would think it doesn't affect them because they are young, but I do feel that in a certain situation that kids are so used to having 1 and 2, and then when 1's not there anymore, it still kind of sticks with them to when they get older. And then if you have a certain parent instill that in them, like, oh, it was this person's fault or that person's fault, and if you guys kind of go against each other, and the kid feels like, wait, was this because of me? Was it not? You know, and then that type of scenario.
That sounds bad. So my babies were babies. So one was 1, almost 2, another one was only 1 month. So they don't know our dad, their dad and me being together. They see pictures and they're like, oh, you and dad was in the picture together. I was like, yeah.
That's Jada. You knew my dad?
Like, I didn't know. We were actually in a relationship when we dated you.
And see, in y'all situation, y'all kids were younger. Mine were a little older.
So
So,
they
like,
kind of feel it.
they know I was there, and now not anymore, so.
Yeah, so my kids, I mean, I don't know if it's affected. Unfortunately, it's a lot of households that is only single parent homes. So, and the good thing is they do still have their dad, but they're just happy kids. So I don't know how it might affect them when they get older. But as of right now, they seem pretty happy, and I don't know. We have fun together. They're my babies.
That's all that matters.
All right. Okay, this is the second question about co-parenting, and it's what's the hardest thing about co-parenting?
My hardest thing is basically I don't get to see them as much as I would like to. Whether or not it's their choice or just because I'm working a lot, I work nights, so I don't really get to see them. I mean, mind you, I have 6 children, 5 of them have cell phones. That's part of an issue. I mean, I feel like, I understand that I'm the parent and things like that, but if you can call me and if you can text me and ask me for shoes and clothes and money, then you can call me and text me and ask me how I'm doing, or vice versa. I can do the same.
Yeah.
But other than that, like it sucks not being able to like talk to them more, which I could probably do better on my part as well.
Yeah.
But not seeing them and not being able to talk to them, like, you know, how you used to having them in a household together, or being able to see them more when all of them is there, especially like every other weekend or so. And then now you go from not seeing them or talking to them for like weeks and hell, even sometimes months at a time. That's what sucks to me.
That would really suck.
Yeah.
So.
I would say the hardest part about co-parenting is not sharing the responsibilities. Like with me, if you know, I'm by myself. So if one gets sick in the middle of the night and need medicine, and I just so happen to don't have medicine, I have to make a decision. Like, am I going to pack both of my kids up in the middle of the night to take them to Walgreens to get some medicine? Or am I going to try to sneak out while they're sleeping and feel like a horrible mom leaving them there by themselves just to go get medicine? Like, that's hard. If one's sick, I always the one that have to miss work. I did talk to him and be like, hey, you know, sometimes they're sick. Can you stay home? And I bring you the kids, because why I always have to be the one to do everything. Right. So, and then just, I'm the one that, you know, to and from daycare, if they want, you know, if I put them in something extracurricular activities, we had a discussion. I asked if you would help, like, pick them up, drop them off, but I'm the main one. I'm the only one doing everything as far as picking up, dropping off, sick, all that stuff. So so that's the hardest part, is I feel like we don't share the responsibilities, but we both share the glory. When Miracle or my other daughter, you know, people say they're smart or they do really good in school, you know, he's like, oh, that's my baby.
Yeah, you can't take that credit. You can't take that credit.
Like, I have her. I'm the one reading to her every day, you know.
I would say on my behalf, the hardest thing about co-parenting is that my two oldest kids, they live in different states, so it's kind of hard to co-parent. And then on top of that, like, we can't never see eye to eye, me and their moms, so it makes it harder for me, you know, because, you know, trying to be a parent to a kid that's 1,000 miles away is hard. So ain't like I can, you know, go see him every weekend or do this and that. And then to even make it harder for me to try to co-parenting, just like, for example, like, kids come in the summertime, you know, I should have no problem with that. I mean, that's only, like 2.5 months, you know, out of the year that y'all have them. So that's what make it hard for me to co-parent. I'm like, you already made it hard when I moved out of town without my consent. So, like, just make it easier for me to get them here. So without us having to, because, I mean, I don't think nobody want to really have problems with the people they had kids with. You know, nobody want that. That's just too much. You know, you're trying to raise your kids and all that. So people just make it so hard for no reason. So that's my problem. Like, my kids just live in these, you know, 2 different states, and I got money to just throw out and be like, okay, I'm gonna get my kid tomorrow. I have to plan accordingly. Like, I gotta plan like 3 months in ahead. So so shouldn't make it hard for me to do that. Like, if I'm trying to be the father and, you know, see my kids, it shouldn't make it hard. So that's my story on it being hard for co-parenting, is distance.
Well, mine, I would probably kind of piggyback off of what Sherise said about, you know, having most of the load on yourself. And another thing is kind of like, the hardest thing for me is letting my child's father just be a father whenever he wants to. Just like, oh, I want to be a dad today, let me do it. So I just always automatically say yeah, because, you know, we don't have a set schedule. I don't like the not having a, you know, a set schedule. Like, you get this, then it's just whenever he has the time to. That's the hardest part for me, to just be like, okay, fine, go ahead. So, other than that, what would you guys say are pros about co-parenting, if there is any pros?
My pros is every other weekend I have free time. So I like to go on trips and travel, so I feel like that's the time that I would be able to go and just have mama time to herself. So that's my pro. Is every other weekend I'm free.
Yeah.
That's,
Well, I guess
that was my pro, but
I guess I can go on what Sherise is saying. Like, I guess that would have been a pro. Probably not for me as per se. Probably for the moms.
Yeah.
Because, like, I used to have them every other weekend. And they were free. Like, hey, you know, I want my kids, just have them over. Y'all go ahead, do whatever y'all want to do. I mean, I know y'all got them 90% of the time. Y'all want y'all free time. Until they started getting older. And then they were like, I mean, you know, they older, they teens, so they want to be with their friends. They don't. It kind of sucks on my part because, you know, I'm just used to that, but I do have to understand that they are getting older and they want to be with their friends because I know how I was. I wanted to be with my friends, and you know, and then like giving them the choice, like either you can stay home or not, but be wanting them to be there because it's like I don't get to see you. I want to be around you. I want to see you, like even if it's for a day. Because I don't get that. I don't get the weekends off. But I mean, I guess that would be a pro for them. Not really for me wise, but
yeah. You have any pros?
My pros would be just being able to agree on time, you know, with my kids. Like that'd be my pro. Like for instance, let's say I want to go get my kids for the springtime, and we just agree on it without it being some extra shit. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't know this and that just let me get him. You know what I'm saying? I don't get him enough. Just like he don't see his kids enough. So that would be my pro. Like my kids coming in the summertime, and you know we being able to talk like, oh, okay, this is what he did. I mean, we ain't talking about nothing but the kids. You know what I'm saying? I don't got nothing else to say to you unless it's about my kids. So that definitely be my pro, to being able to just talk with the moms, you know, and you know about the kids and being able to agree instead of arguing because life is too short for that. So.
Yeah, I agree with that a lot. Like the pro would be having just a useful conversation where, like you said, it involves the kids and you guys can sit there and y'all can have a conversation. It ain't about, oh, you did this to me or da-da-da-da. And it's actually just on the main focus of the kids and y'all actually hang up feeling like you came to an agreement together to raise the children together or make a choice for the kids in a group, like together, like, hey, so and so did this at school, this, and this, whether they at your house or my house, they on punishment, no problem. You know, like agreement on that type of situation, or I took their phone from them, or they can't do this, can't do that, no problem. Hey, I'm with you 100%, and then it works that way. That's definitely a pro for that.
Yeah. Well, don't look at me, y'all. I don't really know. I don't really know.
Because he's not consistent enough.
Yeah, sometimes I'm like, okay, you know, he's getting better. Then
well,
so, yeah.
On to the next one?
Yeah.
Okay, the next question is, are there any personal stories about co-parenting you would like to share?
Like, how did y'all come about? Do y'all have any stories about how y'all got into place, like y'all days, y'all keeping your kids, did y'all, like, how did y'all come about that type of stuff? Any stories? Y'all looking like, y'all looking like, which one?
Well, I'll say, I'm just thinking here.
I can't find one.
I mean, in my first situation, I can say basically, how we came about the situation. The kids, I got them every other weekend. That was something we just agreed on. It wasn't court ordered or anything. We just agreed on that. And it was going great. That was how it was. Like I said, until they got older. They're teenagers now, so that really kind of dwindled off. We also have a son together. He calls me. I mean, he calls whenever he wants to come over, which I understand. He basically likes playing PlayStation and being at home. So he calls me whenever he calls. I drop whatever I'm doing. I'll go get him. In my other situation, my two sons, it was also agreed. I was getting them every other weekend as well. Nothing court ordered. My oldest son feels that he doesn't want to come around or things like that. So I'm not going to force him. I just let him feel that that's how he wants to. I hope he comes around sooner or later. I mean, and I know kids they feel a certain type of way or they get things instilled in them that other people around them that are telling them certain things. So you just got to let them come into their own. And then they'll realize later in life, like, hey, maybe this situation wasn't as bad as I thought it was. My last situation, my daughter, I actually get her every other weekend, and she stays with me over the weekend. And sometimes I take her to school in the mornings and things like that. So that situation works.
So the co-parenting situation for me is when we broke up. It was he wanted them every other weekend, so that kind of how that started. Ours is court order. We had a lot of different situations and that came about the court order. But anyways, even though it was court order, he only chose to see them every other weekend. I would love for him to see them more because I feel like 4 days out of a month is not enough to see your kid or talk to them. So I mean, I welcome him to see them more. That was his decision, and that's how that came about. But I am happy that, he's currently, consistent. He's been consistent for almost the whole year of getting them every other weekend, and I've been able to live my best life as well. So, but as far as that, it was court ordered. As far as us coming to that conclusion, because like I said, even though it was court ordered, there was times he wasn't consistent. But like I said, as of a full year, he's been consistent.
All right, my personal story about co-parenting, I would say it started earlier, between both of the mothers of my sons. Like, I was getting them whenever I wanted to. We never really had a court order. Only court order I got is child support, but we never really went into a court order for like joint custody, which I regret. But at the beginning, I was getting my kids and everything was good, and then all of a sudden, like I said, distance too. Like, my kids live out of town now, but when they was here, I was getting them, like trying to do like 4 days or whatever, or get them on a weekend, every weekend, just trying to split the time. And I mean, I guess it just disappeared after that. Just like with my oldest, he's about to be 13, and for some reason, we still, have problems with each other, me and his mom, which I don't understand why. Like, he lives in California, so I try to get him, like, at least in the summer, which sometimes he might not come, or, I try to get him Christmas or something, and just can't come to an agreement. So, and then with my other, I can't honestly say with my 5-year-old that his mom makes sure he comes every summer. She drops him off, so I applaud her for that. We went through what we went through, but now she's trying to put in the effort. So that's what I'll say. Like, it's easy. It make it easier when you do that instead of doing all this extra stuff. Like now we can agree on stuff. We ain't had no arguments in a minute, and I pray we don't have no more. but
right.
But yeah, like she's really putting in the effort. So I appreciate that. I just need that shit to be consistent between both of them. Because the kids need both of their parents, and if you got one of the parents actually reaching out, then why?
What's the problem?
Yeah, what's the problem? Like, why make it hard on them? So that's like my personal story with co-parenting. Like, I'm still going through that. Like with my oldest, it's just, I don't know, man. I have nothing. That's just what it is.
Really, it's hard to explain.
Yeah. Well, with me, I just kind of gave up on the co-parenting. It's just like whatever happens. Like, my daughter, she's about to be 13 as well, so she has her phone. She communicates with her dad. They do that. Whatever happens, if he say he gonna come get her, he gonna come get her. Like, I don't really have much to do with it anymore. It just is what it is. I tried all these years. I'm just like, whatever happens, just happen. You go over there, you go over there. If you don't, you don't.
And I guess it's like when they get older, like you said, they got their own phone and they can talk to you. Like, hey, they can always say, this weekend, can I come over? Or can you come get me? And then that's the time where you got to choose, like, hey, am I going to make this effort? I've been trying all this time to try to do that. Am I going to go do that to show them that, hey, I am still here?
Yeah.
I'm a phone call away and I'll be there for you.
Yep.
On to the last one.
So the last question, well, it's not really a question. Do you guys have any advice that you would like to give to people that are co-parenting?
Everybody started looking all funny.
I say, in a situation, like, make sure the person that you have kids with, period, is somebody that you really can see that you want to have kids with or get along with. Because sometimes a lot of people just jump into certain situations and they don't look at the long term, they're looking at the short term. And it's not always just them, you know, it's always can be you too. I mean, it's both. It's two, it goes both ways. When you're younger and you still want to say, like, be out there, it's not gonna work. And then if you both are out there and want to do this and want to do that, when you have kids, it makes that situation harder. Because then, you know, maybe one wants to slow down, one doesn't, and or either the situation is still going and y'all just fall apart. But then you can't really fall too much apart because you got these children here that you have to co-parent with.
My advice is communication. Don't use your kid as bait because you're upset with them. So, and I'm sorry, it's a quick story, but, you know, my children's father was very controlling. So when, you know, when it came to control, his control factor before child support was, you lucky I'm paying you some money for daycare. I'm not going to pay you for diapers or clothes or anything like that because I'm just going to dingle this over your head as a carrot and then I'm not going to pay you anything. You know, one of those numbers. And then also don't do tit for tat. So, like, if the person isn't able to pay you, don't say, oh, you can't see the kids because you're not paying support for the kids. Because that doesn't make you a better parent than the other if you tell them, oh, you can't see the kids due to you not paying me this money. You're hurting the kids. And, you know, and that's not right because the kids shouldn't be in the middle of that. So I would just say this is just, you know, try to separate you and that other person's relationship with each other. Make sure you think about your kids first. Think about, you know, what your relationship was with your parents. If you had no relationship, then that should even be more of a reason to make sure that they have a relationship. Or if you did have a close relationship, you should want your kids to have that same type of relationship that you have with their parents. So my thing is definitely just make sure you think about the kids first, and don't use them as carrots or bait or whatever to try to get at the other person. That's my advice.
And also, leave a kid in a kid's place. Don't share the situation that you and the other parent are having with that child, because then it puts that child in a spot to as in where they're like, they feel like, do I listen to my mother or do I listen to my father? Or if they have, depending on the situation, because there's some situations out there where the dad has the kids all the time. And, you know, and then if he's saying something and it's the child is like, oh, well, my mom ain't this, my mom ain't that. But you really don't know that. You're only going off of what that parent is saying. Or vice versa, like, oh, my dad ain't this, my dad ain't that. But if this person, the parent, whether the mother or the father, has been there your whole life and has done things for you, you can't really say that. But that's just what the other parent is feeling. So, you know, leave them out of it. If you hate yourself, you hate your other parent, hate them on your own. Just don't put the kids in it. You know what I mean?
Yes, me too. I always say I feel like the kids should make their own opinion of their parent. And you shouldn't do that. Even no matter how bad I was at the kid's dad, I try not to, you know, put that in their ear. I want them to love their dad. I want them to see their dad as much as possible because I didn't have a dad around. So I want them to have what I didn't have.
Yeah, I'm just gonna piggyback off of y'all. Basically, what I'm gonna say is let the hurt go. You know,
I agree with that. Yes.
And just like they were saying, don't put the kids in it. You know, because you're confusing the kids. You know, like the kids can hate the mom or the dad, not knowing that they missing out on a good parent because of what the other parent said. So. Stop putting your kids in stuff, man, because at the end of the day, you're going to be hurting the kids. And then when they grow up and realize they missed out so much, you know, on the other parent because you put all this stuff in their head thinking that they was a bad person and really they was a good person. Y'all got to stop doing that. I see that a lot, you know, so just let the hurt go. Think about the kids. That's basically what I'm saying. If you mad and you hate that person, hate whatever, do what you gotta do, but you gotta realize that y'all made a kid together, and the kid ain't got nothing to do with the hatred towards each other. You know what I'm saying? So let that hurt go.
What day is it, y'all? All right. Is there anything else y'all would like to say?
I think I shared a lot.
Right, I did.
Y'all did
That
not.
was heavy.
So I would like to thank you two for joining us today and
My
sharing
pleasure.
your experiences with co-parenting. Everybody that's watching, I hope that you guys subscribe to our channel and push the notification bell because we will be having Real Talk with the Jeffersons every Sunday at 5 p.m. And on next week,
We're going to brush up on a topic called child support.
child support.
I'll,
Gonna get heated in
He
here.
might be back.
I'll definitely sit back down for that one.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you guys will definitely want to tune in for that. And I want to thank you guys for keeping it real with the Jeffersons.
All right, peace.
Bye.
Yeah, I'll definitely come
I did
back.
better this time.
Look at
All right.